So here we have Calculatum imponens, this small light green one next to it, this little furry guy, has a dicranum. And then this, I believe, is a beautiful branch moss, which I can't remember the genus name, but I'm pretty sure it's called beautiful branch moss. This is also known as hypnum moss, and this little tiny guy is also known as broom moss. There's little tiny broom mosses along these granite boulders, and then you've got shield lichens in the genus Cladonia. This is all Clethea onifolia in here, and this is a small black tupelo. This little tree here. Tupelos like swamps. Here's a beautiful Acer rubrum. Look at those raised roots, and then it's gnarly. So this is an old shade-grown specimen. You see, or it was either shade-grown or it used to be I don't know. It was one of the first trees to grow here. That's for sure, because you can see where all the old branches were. So this is open grown then, amongst all the other maples and Clethea, which is the main shrub in here. And there's also freaking Smilax rotundifolia. So it's your Clethea green briar thicket, one of the more common understories throughout southern New England, it seems. Oh, but it's nice here. But the thing is, I just hate going through these because it's like a maze and you get stuck on thorns all the time. It makes me frown. And then the highlands happen back up there. There's a development there and there, but that's kind of where the wetlands stop. So going through to this other ridge, this rocky ridge over here, that's where we're going to head, and then we're just going to check it out, maybe do a loop back this way. A common trend of these ecosystems, I find, that all paths that go towards swamps go directly into them. None of them kind of skirt around the edge to the next upland. They all lead you to the middle. Mostly because where the middle of the swamp is usually the most open and the youngest. So there's more forbs and herbaceous growth that's easier to eat, and a lot more food in that general direction rather than here. So pretty much all the paths lead to that source of food, and not really across. So this giant leaning shrub here, this is a giant Clethea onifolia, or sweet pepper bush, and typically they're smaller upright individuals like this, but this one's old growth. This one's probably 20 feet tall if it was standing straight up. They eventually don't have enough strength to basically keep themselves standing, so they lean, and that's what makes these habitats difficult to get through, because when they lean, greenbrier grows up in them. You can see a small one right here, and what happens is it just creates this tangle. So it's crazy to see an old growth ones. That means these are well over 100 years old, just like this giant red maple here. Relatively giant. It's like 2 feet across. And what makes it giant is, or what makes it tell me that it's really old, is just how chonky that bark is. The chonkier the bark, the older the tree. That's kind of how it goes. Here we have Usnea, one of the more common tree lichens, meaning they grow on the tops of the trees and they fall down. Usnea, the bushy beard lichen. Isn't that nice? Here we have a large ash tree, or fraxinus. Now how you can tell is the bark is like kind of vertical or just horizontal chunks, whereas a maple like this one is just kind of random chunks and they get smooth up top. Whereas the ash stays chunky going all the way up. Also, like the branching pattern, it's distinct. I don't really know how to describe it, but it is not a red maple. It's just, you look at it, you're like, yep, that's an ash. Check out this beautiful polypore. Rarely do you see polypores not decay, or at least large ones. Usually large ones like this decay immediately in the winter and just fall apart. Stuff like turkey tails and whatnot, and Tromites. Tromites and Sturium, they tend to keep together, and this one is keeping together too. And that's a beautiful specimen right there. Here's your Lacalia papulosa, or toadskin lichen. And then you got your other shield lichen. And then there's your Umbilicaria mamulata, your smooth rock tripe. Here we have Rubus phoeniculatus, or wineberry. It's an invasive rose that tastes absolutely delicious and has these super duper fuzzy pokey stems, and beautiful red berries in August that taste delicious, and white flowers in July. Even though it's invasive, it's so tasty. So that's the sad thing about it. And then they'll actively go down in the root and then just form a thicket. But typically in this habitat, you only see them in the cracks on the top of rocks. Right here we got Galosatia baccata, or black huckleberry. It's a very common upland heath shrub. Look at this beautiful granite. This giant ridge just broke apart. Wow. Ah, sick. I didn't even know this is here. This is cool. Look at that. There's the whole cave. There's a Polypodium virginiatum right here. The rock polypody. And check out that. Rock polypody. Here we have a massive invasive multiflora rose. And of course it enters the development. The development here seems to be the primary cause of all the invasives in this forest. Gotta say, development like these are sad. I mean, their only shrubbery is burning bush and Japanese hollies. I saw a few forsythias. They have stupid London plane trees. Those are those trees there. I doubt they're sycamores. They got Japanese cherries.